All right, thank you. All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call to order the February 12th, 2024 City of Charleston Committee on Real Estate committee meeting to order. The invocation was supposed to be delivered by Councilmember Gregg, but I've been informed that he is on the road and may not be able to make the meeting. So let's see if we can have our newly elected Councilman William Tinkler. Can you give an invocation on the spot?
Uh, I, how about we do a moment of silence?
Perfect. That's always a
Let, let's
option.
let's let's bow our heads for a moment of silence. All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you for doing that. And I see the mayor has joined us. Welcome. First item up is approval of the January 22nd, 2024 meeting minutes. Can I entertain a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify support by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. First item up is an authorization for the mayor to execute an amendment between the city of Charleston and TMP SRE Holdings LLC. And this is an extension to August 2nd, 2024 to enter into a public infrastructure and improvement agreement. And this is for Citadel Mall over in West Ashley. And I see Miss Copeland has turned on her camera. Do you want to maybe give us a few remarks on this?
Absolutely, thank you. So yes, this is originally we were under an MOU with the owners of the Citadel Mall site. And part of this MOU was an agreement that we would work out some kind of agreement whereby the developer may front some of the money to put in public improvements during their first phase of construction, and we would work out some kind of reimbursement through the TIF. All of those details do need to be worked out still. There's a lot of moving parts, but originally this was supposed to be set up by February of this year. So naturally we're here now and we have not started those discussions. So they've asked for an extension to August. So that's what's before you now. And Nicole Scott who represents the owner is on if anyone has any additional questions about details.
I am here, Julia. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
And Chairman Appel, just FYI, I have met with owners of Citadel Mall. They are motivated. I expressed the city's desire to have something done here sooner rather than later. And they were very, well, let's just say they understood that and are excited to get started. So this is not a delay with no plan. This is a delay with so that they can get their plan in motion, if you will.
Wonderful. That is great to hear because I think I can speak for everybody over in West Ashley that this is some other redevelopment projects in West Ashley might have gotten some more publicity here recently, but as far as I'm concerned, the elephant in the room is Citadel Mall. It's just a tremendous, tremendous opportunity. And as far as I know, the zoning is in place. We're open to working with the developer on infrastructure. Let's all just keep the communications going and work towards a positive outcome on this. I think that's wonderful. Can I entertain a motion to go ahead and get this one on the floor?
So moved.
All right, moved and properly seconded. Any comments, discussion, questions from the committee? All right, let's give them some additional time to work out the details. All in favor, please signify support by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Thank you to everyone. Thank you, Nicole. Please express our best wishes to your clients. We want to see them succeed here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. And I see that Councilmember Waring has just joined us. Good afternoon. All right. Next item on the agenda has to do with some intersection improvements over at the corner of Camp and Fort Johnson. This is property we own, and we're considering a request to contribute some land to Charleston County for some intersection improvements over on James
That's
Island.
right. Thank you, Chairman. So the county is putting in a roundabout at Camp in Fort Johnson. What you're looking at right now is the exhibit they sent over to us. It's about 6,500 square feet of property right here in this corner that is owned by the city. This is a first for me. The county actually approached the city about donating this parcel with a value of about $70,000 to the county. So I'm putting this up on the floor of real estate to start the discussion to see if there's any interest in doing this. So the floor is yours.
All right. Can I entertain a motion in a second to go ahead and get this on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Or I'm sorry, let's vote. All in favor, please signify support by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
Yeah, you want to have discussion, I think.
My bad. It's been a long day.
It's been a long day.
Let's hold off on the vote for now. Any comments, questions, discussion from the committee?
I guess I have one question.
Sure.
Do we have the plans for the county improvement or?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have the full set of plans, but I'm sure I can get it for you. But it is to install a roundabout for Camp at Fort Johnson.
Okay.
I can get those to you prior to the meeting tomorrow night.
Councilman Ware?
That would be good. There's a traffic circle at Harborview Road in Fort Johnson that works pretty well. So I would think Camp in Fort Johnson should work equally as well. So
Yeah. I agree. Ms. Copeland, do you know if this is that area where there's some grand tree conflicts that have been controversial over the years?
I think it is.
Not that. Sorry, go ahead, Councilman.
No, you go ahead. You didn't. He wasn't talking to me. He was talking to you.
No, so there have been no grand tree discussions here. I think the biggest issue right now is there's a stone entryway along Stone Post Road, and the county's agreed to push that back onto city property, and the city's going to maintain it from there on out. But that's it. That's all I've heard about.
Understood.
Melina, do you have anything you want to add on this?
Yeah, I just wanted one point of correction regarding the monument. The town has actually agreed to maintain that. So that's going through approvals right now. The town of James Island will be maintaining it. And once that's approved, we'll be submitting it through this committee and council.
Thank you.
Got it. Councilman Waring?
So will we have to secede it to the town of James Island? Hey, I'm just kidding.
In this instance, I think it's going to be okay.
Okay.
Good deal. Did the county offer any credit on any other projects for this 70,000, or are we gonna just
It was brought up, but I think we're gonna use it as a political chip. We got plenty of things we're gonna be pitting them.
Good. Let's continue to play well in the sandbox with everyone. That sounds great. Well, this is a very important project over on James Island, so I think it's a great thing the city can do to lend some help to this effort. Any further comments, questions from the committee? All right, let's vote. All in favor, please signify support by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item up is an authorization for the mayor to execute a non-exclusive permanent public sidewalk easement, and this is over on John's Island, and this is for Fire Station 23. Melina, do you want to give us some remarks on this one?
Yes, thank you very much. If you don't mind, I'm just going to share my screen just because I'm a visual person and I find it helpful to see what we're talking about here. So if you can see my screen right now, this is on Maybank Highway on Johns Island. And what you can see is right here, parcel 337. The city owns this parcel, and this is going to be the site of our future Fire Station 23. Right here, adjacent to our parcel, next to Wilt's Battery is 343, which is owned by Shade Tree Partners, LLC. As part of our fire station development plans, we are required to construct a sidewalk along or across our property along Maybank Highway. So what this easement is for an easement over Shade Tree Partners parcel right here, which is adjacent to ours, for the construction of a sidewalk that will connect into the sidewalk going across our parcel. So this easement is granting the city temporary and a permanent easement, temporary for construction and permanent for the maintenance and repair of this small sliver of sidewalk.
Why do they have that sliver of property?
What this is it's in a PUD, I believe, and it's zoned or it's earmarked as HOA property. There is a stormwater pond right here, Mr. Mayor. And we did have our stormwater department take a look at this to see if we were interested in taking on the entire parcel. And the decision was made that the entire parcel would not be a benefit to the city overall, which is why we're just asking for the easements that we don't have to worry about any maintenance right here.
Then why is I'm sure y'all figured this out, but why is the sidewalk as a wetland there? And so we're going to curve the sidewalk?
Yes, yes, Mr. Mayor. This front portion right here is a wetland buffer, which is why our sidewalk is kind of zigging down below that before it comes back up to go along Maybank.
That's a public sidewalk.
Yes, sir. It will be.
Are other parcels along Maybank Highway having to do this circuitous public right-of-way?
I understand that as they're developed, they will be required to connect into the sidewalk.
So this is one of the features of the county's Maybank overlay district that they have over the unincorporated portions. The city does not require these sidewalks to be installed as part of redevelopment, as I understand it, although, and Melina, please let me know, I mean, is the idea that, since this is a city developed property, we're sort of cooperating with that sidewalk plan, or how is this all kind of coming into scope?
Sure. Talking with our Parks Department, I understood that we are required to put this sidewalk on our property as part of that Maybank redevelopment plan that you mentioned.
Mm.
And there is
Chairman?
an existing sidewalk along Wilkes Battery here and here. So the requirement of connecting this one into our sidewalk is what's making us add this sidewalk across the HOA sliver right there.
Got it. Thank you for that. Mr. Morgan?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So there was an effort to put the sidewalk along the edge of Maybank Highway, but because of the slope and utilities that are in that small area between the turn lane and the edge of our property, it was almost impossible to put the width of sidewalk that's needed in that location. And so that's why it has to have this circuitous route.
All right, sounds good.
We were all
I
kind of
didn't mean to-
disappointed in that, but it was the only way it could get put in an expeditious manner.
I
Got
figured
it.
there was an explanation. All right, thank you.
Got it. Sounds great. Councilman Waring?
Mr. Morgan, you might be able to help me out with this, but I thought with new construction, you're required to do sidewalks in the city.
You are, yes. The city
Okay.
requires sidewalks. Yes, sir.
That's been around for
Hmm.
decades. Man.
Yes. Sometimes, we end up having to maintain some of the county sidewalks too. The county requires them now too. And the DOT won't maintain them and the county won't maintain them.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Mm.
Actually, now this may sound well, Mr. Chairman, if I be recognized.
Please, of course.
Some of this, I'm wondering whether we should change it to bike pedestrian lanes. Because the sidewalk is normally 4.5 feet, and a bike pedestrian lane is maybe 8 feet. Now you can get away with 8 feet. I know they like 10. But
And I think these are 8-foot sidewalks. I think what we're requiring along Maybank is like 8 or 10 foot. I can't remember the exact dimension. Melina, do you know?
This is a 10-foot sidewalk, I believe,
Ah.
Chris.
'Cause-
But see, that should be a bike pedestrian lane, so when others connect in the future, when other development comes, and if you go down, if anybody's ever been to Costco, look at those sidewalks that we required along, what's that, Ashley Town, what is it, what's the name of that?
Ashley Town Center Drive.
Ashley Town Center Drive, look at it, we got a sidewalk, grass, and then curb and guttering. And it's
Yeah.
always a challenge to keep up that grass.
Yeah.
And, it would have been much better to have a bike pedestrian path from Savannah Highway all the way to Glen McConnell, and new development would have paid for that. So anyway, just think about it. We required a sidewalk, but in some cases it's a 4 or 5 foot sidewalk. I'm glad to hear this one was 10, Melina, so thanks. Anyway, that's something we may want to look at in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they're not asking any money from us as part of this, right?
So sorry, that's kind of the biggest thing is that no, this is being granted to us without any compensation required.
All right. I looked at the contract, didn't see any consideration in the form
Missed
of
that important
money.
part, so sorry about that.
Hey, when we can get stuff for free, it's worth highlighting. All right. Any further comments, questions, discussion on this sidewalk easement? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please signify support by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Next item up is in connection with 55 Romney, and I believe this is an easement, or rather restrictive covenants for some solar energy features as part of our UP zoning, which is you don't see every day. So Ms. Creech, I see you've turned on your screen. Take it away.
Yes, that's right, Councilman Appel. The owner of 55 Romney Street has requested 2 incentive points for height and density bonuses under our UP district incentive options program. And in exchange for that, they are proposing to achieve and maintain a 24 kilowatt renewable solar energy system on site for a period of 30 years. So that is what is set forth in this restrictive covenant, and we recommend approval.
All right. Sounds good. That's some innovative zoning right there. Any comments, questions from any of the committee members? Councilman Waring.
I'm just curious, what happens if they go out of business, 10 years from now? Well, how good is this covenant?
These covenants run with the land, so they will be binding on future successors and assigns.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Let's go ahead and get a motion on the
Motion to approve.
board. Moved and
Second.
properly seconded. Any further comments, questions, discussion about these solar energy systems? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify support by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Now on to our annexations. We have 2, 4, 6 annexations, all in District 5. I don't think I've ever seen one district run the table like this before.
What's
Carl's-
Carl doing, man? What's
Carl's
Carl
been out there, pounding the pavement, looks like. In any event, Molly, do you have any insight on these? Are these all standard residential annexations?
Mr. Chair, I have one that I've talked to Councilman Shealy about, and he is not in favor of, and that is the annexation of, I believe it's a horse farm into the city. As I understand it, per Councilman Shealy, that the owner is looking to sell the property. It is being proposed to be a condominium project. They are hoping that they will get a higher density allowance under the city than they would under the county. So that is their motivation. I don't know the property well. I think I know where it is, but he's opposed to it and I'm opposed to it till we get more detail.
Okay.
Sure.
Is that on this agenda?
Yes, sir, Mr.
Good.
Numbers 1 and 2, 1136 and 1154 Bees Ferry Road.
And Molly, if you have any additional information or color on that, you know.
Absolutely. I have our future land use map pulled up. If you don't mind to let me share the screen, I'll be glad to kind of show you where we're talking about and what we've determined in the city plan that's adopted, what's planned for the area. And Christopher's on the call as well to answer some questions. So these are numbers 1 and 2, 1136 and 1154 Bees Ferry Road. Right here is 1136 and 1154. It does not include this little piece right here. You can see that it's listed as neighborhood edge in our city future land use plan, which is the same as right across from Bees Ferry Road, also listed as neighborhood edge. Christopher, is there anything else you want to add after looking at the map?
Yeah, so yeah, these folks approached the city and asked, you know, what would be the city potential zoning on this site. And we, as we do for all our annexations and rezonings, we go to our comprehensive plan that was adopted 2 years ago, and which of course has the extensive land and water analysis. So this is not a site that's as threatened by water and stuff as some other areas along Bees Ferry. It's higher and drier. And that area was determined because it's higher and drier and on a 4-lane roadway that neighborhood edge would be appropriate. Across the street, the county has approved several hundred, I think it's 300 to 400 apartments that are actively under construction right now. So its neighbor across the street is multifamily, and the request on this site would be for limited business, which was done in consultation with the council member whose district it is, Mr. Brady, and he wanted to see it be limited business. Limited business does allow 19.6 units an acre. That is in line with the neighborhood edge recommendations in a location like this.
Chairman,
Councilman Waring.
what is it zone now in the county, Mr. Morgan?
I believe it's R4, single family residential.
And how many units is that per acre in the county?
Basically 4. I think there's some instances where you can get a few more, but not a lot. I mean, it definitely would be higher density in the city. And again, we only do that when our plan supports such a increase.
See, one of the issues going on out there, and I think we'll obviously have a discussion about this at council tomorrow, is I thought in the county, the property across the street where it is, I don't know, somewhere between 350 and not quite 400 units going up, was zone LB in the county. And
CC in the county.
Yeah.
CC in the county. And the thinking from talking to Anna Johnson, who was the former county council person in that area, was we had a lot of subdivisions out in this area. We wanted to try to get some business out so people may find a job closer to where they live. The developers have come and said, hey, it's got a by right 20 unit per acre multifamily provision in it. And that's how you ended up with, you know, the better part of, I think it's like something like 370 or 380 units going up over there. And to come across the street, realizing the traffic problems on Bees Ferry Road, and if anybody takes Glen McConnell to Bees Ferry Road to Savannah Highway, you're gonna see a ton of apartments to the right and left. And when people complain about traffic, it's because I don't think we've actually got too many apartment units going out there that when you look at the original zoning, it was not all designed to be multifamily in that strip, but that's what's evolving over there. So again, going from 4 units an acre to what would be 20 units an acre approximately. Do we want that?
Again, from my standpoint, I'm just echoing what Councilman Shealy and I talked about. I don't have the background, and this is good intel from you, Christopher. I understand where you're coming from, but to Councilman Waring's point, I think there's a pretty real concern about the capacity over there. and what a lot of the current residents are saying.
Right.
Councilman Bowden.
I do think that some of that is right, and maybe some caution in this area would be warranted. But I just have some concerns about what leads us to believe that they won't just go get higher density in the county and then not be subject to our stricter stormwater rules. The other things that we've put in place to protect city residents in the pretty environmentally challenged area.
Yeah.
It's certainly a risk.
Well,
Yeah, I think those are good questions, Councilman Bowden. And it's not as though development doesn't happen in the county. I mean, there are apartment developments going up in this area that are in the county. And I think perhaps one of the takeaways from this is we just need to get a dialogue going with the folks that are looking to purchase this property and develop this property with the new administration. Sit down, meet, talk about what they're trying to do, so we can get a little bit more comfort on this before pressing forward with annexation and zoning. I just think it's this obviously is a sensitive area for all the reasons we've talked about on council over the past year or so. So I certainly see the issue, but as Councilman Bowden points out, I mean, it's it's not as simple as saying we don't approve this annexation and zoning, nothing's going to happen there. I think we got to make sure we got all our bases covered. Council.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, I'll defer to the mayor. Go ahead.
What I would recommend is that we defer on this and we ask for the property owners to come back with a more defined plan for us to consider when taking into account whether or not we would annex.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I second that motion to defer. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Just to Councilman Bowden, you're right in part in asking that question, what would happen in the county? We've actually had this before. As a matter of fact, if you took at the end of Ashley Hall Plantation Road, where anybody knows where Ashley Harbor is, when that road extended and that historic property sold, when that subdivision was being put in, they wanted to annex into the city. In the county, you might remember that. As a matter of fact, I think it may have been one of your clients.
That is my client. We developed in the county when the city said no.
That's right. This in the city, I think they were trying to get a zoning for Mr. Morgan. Was it like 64 units or something like that?
Cluster.
Single family house subdivision in the county. I think it was 46, but they were coming to upzone in the city, and of course Ashley Harbor neighborhood subdivision I live in came out against it. So we wanted to keep it around what it was in the county. They kept it in the county, and the county did not upzone. They developed with the existing zoning that the county had, and they developed 40 some odd houses, 46 houses or what. And it's a very nice subdivision. Matter of fact, extremely nice subdivision. So that doesn't mean that the county is necessarily going to upzone. The probability is that they're coming to us to upzone, and they may be a better compromise in the offering. I think there's got to be something between 4 units an acre and 20 units an acre. That's where that discussion comes from, hopefully with this deferral. So I support, I second the deferral.
And I think a deferral is a great idea. I was at a conference with Mr. Morgan last week where one of the panels was about all the advantages of PUDs. And I think this is, in fact, Mr. Morgan was on that panel, and the city of Charleston has got a good track record with this very creative tool, because so often we're faced with these situations where, under traditional rezonings, you're just asked to sign off on this very broad zoning district where you have no idea what you're getting. We have no idea what we're getting as council. But if the developer could get a dialogue going with the city through a PUD to explain what is and isn't happening, perhaps we get some commercial as a part of that. We have the flexibility to do that. We can take away some of the more undesired uses that would otherwise come with an LB zoning. I think that might be the ticket, if I could provide some unsolicited land use advice here for the developer to pursue, just given the sensitivities of this area and the needs for more commercial in that area. while also, perhaps being open-minded to density somewhere in between R4 and LB. So I think some more work to do here. I think deferral is a great idea. Anybody have any further comments, questions?
Well, I couldn't agree more with what you just said. And we just, if you go back to our last council meeting, Courier Spirit Project was a PUD.
Yep.
All the information was up front. The community and not only council and mayor and council, but certainly the community had all that information up front before a number of public hearings, et cetera, before the vote was taken. And I think this will benefit from that as well. So
Maybe no 12-story buildings here, but
yeah, not that.
we'll keep an open mind. Councilman Bowden.
Just I meant to ask earlier and forgot. If we were to annex this this parcel, would it come into this? Would it be part of the Church Creek TIF?
I think it's too far away. It's a geographical area, and the TIF is pretty much around West Ashley Circle. Isn't that right, Mr. Morgan?
Yes, sir. Yes,
This
sir.
is
It's a little bit further down. We
Yeah.
really have to do a pretty major amendment to that TIF to include this one.
Yeah. School board probably wouldn't go along with that. Good question.
All right. Are y'all ready to vote on the motion on the floor, which is to defer items E, I, and E? Let's just call it E1 and E2.
Correct.
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of deferral, please signify support by saying aye.
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 It is deferred. So that leaves items under annexation 3 to 6. Are these all standard residential annexations, Molly?
Yes, these are all standard residential annexations, all in the same neighborhood, actually, Getty's Hall. So we're excited to welcome these folks and don't anticipate any discussion on these. But
Wonderful.
happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Wonderful. Can I entertain a motion to take items 3 through 6 together?
So moved.
Annexations? Moved and
Second.
properly seconded. Any comments, questions, discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify support by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. The ayes have it. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Councilman Ware?
Listen, I have to apologize for signing on late, but I missed the first item that was discussed, item A, which is at Citadel Mall, which is in District 7. Now, can
Yes.
y'all give me the gist of what took place?
Yeah, so this is a request to extend the deadline for the city and the property owner to enter into a public infrastructure and improvement agreement, which was contemplated under the original MOU.
Right.
We were told by the mayor that he's had conversations with the property owner and developer, and they remain committed and interested in redevelopment Citadel Mall. They just need a little additional time to kind of nail down the details of this infrastructure agreement, which essentially would entail them fronting some of the infrastructure costs to be paid back by the city down the road. Details TBD, but that passed unanimously, and I think there was broad agreement on this committee that we want to see Citadel Mall redeveloped along the lines of the zoning in place, and anything the city can do to help, we're happy to do it.
Believe me, it's in District 7, and you know how long it's been looking the way it's looked. So whatever we can do to help, certainly we'll do that. And on the other side of the meeting, though, when we look at some of the most successful TIFs in the history of the city of Charleston, which was, Concord Street TIF, the King Street TIF, to name probably two of the most successful in the history of the city of Charleston. This one was crafted a little bit different. And now that they have, I think the ownership over there has been somewhat consolidated, Mr. Mayor, it may be good to review some of the TIFs that were most successful to the one that was negotiated. And the reason I bring that up is some of the previous principals involved with it thought this TIF would throw off $200-300 million, and that's just not going to happen. Okay,
No, and again, I'll bring you up to speed and others as well. I mean, you're right that it's a unique, not a unique TIF, but it is slightly different. It is very much focused on an eat what you kill, i.e. the additional tax revenues that project and that property, it's actually a few different parcels contribute, kind of stick with the property. And of course, we know that it's complicated because there are several different owners, the various businesses that, and so what I told them is I said, look, if we can help in any way, particularly with these other owners, you know, about perhaps repositioning where their stores are. I don't want that to get in the way of a larger design opportunity for what could go on there.
Right.
And so I've offered my assistance on that front, but I can tell you this, which is great to hear. They are very motivated to move on this. And as I told the committee earlier, Councilman Waring, I made no bones about the fact that we'd like to see something happening there much sooner rather than later.
That's great to hear. Is there somebody else trying to talk? Anyway, I see Councilman Brady has his hand up. I don't know if he wants to be recognized.
No, I don't have it up. I was just logging
in
to hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. But we can talk on the other side of the meeting. I actually wonder, again, the previous city TIFs have been able to help in a big way. And this is one person's opinion. I actually wondered if they out negotiated themselves with what they previously negotiated, and with an open mind with the city, maybe we can do better by then. Now that we have, you know, I almost say consolidated ownership, and we know what TIFs have done in the past and what can do over here. But again, like you say, they eat what they kill. By the same token, we all can do better together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The TIF is 3 miles long. It generated a lot of money, more than just at that one site. But we can talk outside the meeting. So thanks a lot for allowing me to be brought up to speed on that.
Oh, this is great. It's very great to hear this happening for Citadel Mall. I was over there the other day, and
it's tough.
It's only one way to go from here, and it's up. And hopefully, it's up in a big way, because it's just tremendous opportunity for the city and really the region to have what's possible over there happen. And my only goal, and I'll just state this for the record, like, I don't want the lack of progress on Citadel Mall to be the city's fault, right? In other words, let's give them every opportunity they can to succeed. And if we need to tweak some things, we need to revisit some things, let's do it. Let's roll up our sleeves and get it done, because that's just such a huge priority for West Ashley. Hard to overstate it.
Right.
But I might have just done that. Anybody have anything for the good of the order before we close out? Felt like a long meeting. It was only just a little more than 30 minutes. All right. Thank you all. We got some good business done today, and I'll see everybody tomorrow night.
All right, good.
Thank you all. Take care.